Today we're at a church and we are going to see all about how they use a dLive system in their front of house and their broadcast room to make church happen. I'm here with Bennett and he knows all about how this works. So tell us what this rig is and tell us what you're trying to do every Sunday morning.
So as far as the goal every Sunday morning, it's just making sure every single thing on stage is heard and accurate to what is happening.
Okay, so how many things are on stage?
Well, I mean, that's a big question. We've got 3 different keys rigs at any given time. We have a drum set with 12 microphones. We have the potential for 2 different electric guitar rigs. We have a wireless acoustic rig, a bass dry and wet input, and we can have up to 11 vocalists at one time. This is the Allen Heath dLive S5000 Surface. We have this interfacing with the DM64 in the back with 2 expansions. That gives us approximately up to 128 inputs, although we're not going to use all of those at one time.
How many are you using at one time?
I don't have a number for you, but I would say probably closer to like 80 inputs at once, and then the rest of the inputs are things that are conditional to what we're doing.
What's going on with a channel strip on this board?
Yeah, I mean, let's just look at kick, for example. So right now, we're looking at the preamp and just the overview of the whole channel. And then you can go change your gain. This is changing remotely our DX expansion box that's coming from the stage.
Okay.
More like a stage box. And there's your low pass and high pass. We have a gate. We have the option to insert it into one of our I/O ports, which we're not doing right here. Here's our EQ. Here's our compressor, another insert, and delay, which we are not using at the moment. It's out. This is a 64 bus board.
So give me some examples of what you would use a bus for.
So actually right here, we can see what we're using them for right now. We're not using any stereo groups because we don't have a monitor console. So a lot of our mixes or buses are being taken up by aux outputs that we're running our in-ears with. So we're not using any stereo groups or mono subgroups. We're using 4 mono effects sends, and we're using 3 stereo effects sends. We're using 8 mono aux outputs for some extra in-ear monitor mixes, and we're using 16 stereo in-ear monitor mixes. On this left side, we've got just inputs mainly. So we've got our drums on the top. We've got guitars and keys right there. We've got all of our Ableton tracks. We've got CG computers, so just playback, ProPresenter, Resolume. Here is a Spotify that just keeps running. It's a dedicated computer just for signage. Mm-hmm. Here is the broadcast QLab feed. Here is the front of house QLab feed. And the guy who normally runs the board here, he likes to have his effect send at hand. So here's our Vox Hall send, bass dry, bass wet.
Oh. This is a custom page.
Yeah, so this is more, I think the verbiage that we use here is money layer. So pretty much things that you normally touch a lot that
like
you would want all.
Layer.
Yeah, pretty much everything you would want in one place that you touch the most. Mm-hmm. That's not like a DCA or any other kind of input. That's what he puts on here. And then this is a bunch of crowd and room mics that, as you can see, they're all down because we're not going to send room mics into our PA, but we still have these run so that we can send them to our program feed, which goes to stream sometimes, depending on whether we're running broadcast or not.
Matrices or DCAs?
This middle section is DCAs. So you've got all of your drums, your bass, guitar, keys and tracks, full band, all of your vocals, reverb, return, and delay return. And then under here, this is where we can access all of our in-ear mixes. So all of these right now are in-ear mixes, and if we want to change something, we just hit that mix button. Vocal in-ear mixes, more in-ear mixes. Okay, these are inputs that come from the embedded audio channels of our HyperDeck. So since you can embed 16 channels of audio, sometimes what we're able to do is have a recording of the service with 16 embedded channels, and then if we're to play back that video on the deck, we would have access to all those channels to mix it, even though it's video playback.
Let's talk about wireless. What are you doing for wireless?
So we're using a mixture of Shure Axient and Shure ULXD, so we have a whole bunch of vocal mics. Most of those are the ULXD, the ULXD2 transmitters, but then a number of them are the AD2 transmitters for the ones that we're using the Axient.
And you've got wireless workbench up here?
Correct. So we've got wireless workbench. We can monitor all of our transmitters and receivers. So if we wanted to, we could select all of our in-ear mixes as well and see what the status of those are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's going on this screen?
So this is Waves SuperRack Sound Grid. This is allowing us to interface with our Waves Extreme server. So we use these as inserts on all of our channels. So if we go back over to the board and go to a vocal channel, we can see that it is being sent to MixRack IO port 2, which is our Waves card. And that allows us to interface with our Waves server and send and receive inputs from the Waves server so that we can process in real time using the Waves plugins. And so we've got a couple things on vocals. We've just got a primary source expander, a de-esser, multiband compressor, the C6, and then Waves real-time tune. Put that on all of our vocals. And then just a couple other things that also get processed. We've got things like bass, acoustics. We're doing a little bit of light mastering on our program feed for when we're using front of house as our broadcast mix. We've got pretty much all of our handheld mics are also going through here too for some extra processing. Stuff like X feedback, another primary source expander, an F6, dynamic EQ, and then tune just in case the pastor starts singing.
And then what's going on with this? You have a stream deck over here?
Yeah.
What does that do?
We can do any number of things with this, but at the moment right now, we have buttons that recall a, what's it called on here? A snapshot on Waves Sound Grid. So if I hit this, it will change the key in the snapshot for all of our vocalists at once.
So it's just changing between
Yes.
the musical key. Let's talk about the I/O, because I'm assuming a mixer like this is not an analog patch bay. It is a digital patch bay, correct?
Correct. So in the back, we have the actual mixer, which is the mix rack. And so we have a DM64 back there with 2 analog expansion boxes. So you can patch a lot of channels with analog inputs, but we also use Dante, Waves, and GigaACE to send and receive channels different places. A lot of our inputs are Dante from our Dante stage boxes or any number of places in the building that we can receive audio. You can either have your analog I/O on the mix rack, your DX analog I/O. You can have Dante channels. You can send and receive with Waves. And then GigaACE is Allen and Heath's, I believe it's their proprietary way of sending uncompressed audio. We're using GigaACE to send to our broadcast board just 1-to-1 every single channel so that they have everything duplicated digitally that we receive at the mixer.
On the stage, what do we got going on? We are on stage left. What's going on here?
So this is one of our analog stage boxes, the
Okay.
DX168. This has, what is it, 16 inputs and 8 outputs. We're running most of our drums through this, and any outputs would be like our drum IEM mix, which is wired in this case. Talkback mics would also go in here. And then we also have a DT168, which is the Dante version of that stage box, which is same amount of I/O, but these channels can be routed via Dante.
Drums are a big part of this whole situation, right? How many channels you got going on here?
So let me see here. Don't know off the top of my head. We've got the 2 overheads. We've got 4 different tom mics. We've got 3 condensers, 1 dynamic. We have snare top and bottom. We have kick in and out. We have a ride condenser mic underneath the ride. We have another condenser underneath the hi-hat. We have, let's see, we have a mono output from the SPDSX, and then a talkback mic right here. And I believe that's all of our drum mics.
We're in the back where this is the actual guts of the mixer, correct?
Yes, and admittedly, it looks like a mess, but there's just a lot of different things coming from a lot of different places and a lot of audio snakes. So, I mean, what we're looking at right here, here's our Waves server right here, these 2 little boxes.
These 2 boxes here are the Waves server.
And it's just a redundancy thing. So one server is only running at one given time, and then we have a backup just in case.
Okay.
These are audio tie lines, so anywhere throughout the room there may be XLR ports on the wall. That's where we can access the endpoint of these.
Patch them down into the main mixer.
And then this area right here, this general area right here, this is the actual mixer. This is our DM64, and it's where all the processing happens. There's a lot of analog I/O on just this part. But then if you go over here, you can see our option cards, which we have a, Dante, we've got Waves, and we have GigaACE. And then down below that, there's 2 expansion boxes. These are the, what are these called again? DX32, which you can have any number of options, inputs and outputs. This one appears to be inputs. And then this one down here is mainly outputs for our in-ear monitor mixes.
So basically everything up at the front desk, in order for the mixer to work, takes up basically 8 feet of rack space.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, this right here, this section, is our mixer.
Okay, so about 4 feet of rack space for the mixer to work. And then I see over here you've got all your wireless.
Correct. So these are our transmitters coming in. So the mics transmit to this. These receive 4 channels each. And then here are our Axient channels up here. We have 8 of those. They're received up here. And then all of these down here are actually transmitters that go back out to the stage for our in-ear monitor mixes.
And then all the antennas are remote?
Correct. So these antenna right here these are antenna combiners. So there's 2 different ones, one coming in and one coming out. So these all right here, I believe, are plugged into an RF venue antenna that's above the stage. And then these right here are combined and sent to a helical antenna that's just side stage for our in-ear monitor mixes.
All this is all patched into all that?
Correct. I believe,
ins and outs all patched.
I believe a lot of our audio channels are Dante though. So we don't necessarily have to have the analog line running straight into here.
Right.
I believe actually these ones can be Dante. And then I think these are actually analog.
Okay.
Now that I think about it.
I assume that this rack is preamping all of the feeds for the broadcast as well, right? It's a shared preamp?
Yes, so the preamp is shared, and the front of house is the master, the DM64 is the master clock for both of these boards. We actually have a separate mix rack by broadcast that it has no analog I/O. It's just Waves, GigaACE, and Dante.
Okay, let's go take a look at that.
Cool. Sometimes we'll have the front of house mix sending a program feed, and sometimes if we're lucky and have enough people on that given week, we will have a separate broadcast mix.
Doing basically a completely independent mix.
Correct. Mixing everything completely independently and vastly different
Correct.
than a front of house mix.
Okay, so then, but the inputs are shared.
Inputs are shared.
Is the gain staging shared?
Yes, so front of house has control of the preamps.
Okay,
for sure.
So when front of house preamps turns the gain up, it affects back here. Do you have a trim where you can override that?
Yes, so the only thing we have control of is the trim. So if it's clipping at front of house, it's clipping here. I can't fix that. So
Okay.
we have constant communication between front of house and broadcast to make sure that things are actually gained correctly. So this is the C3500 surface. Again, this is just the surface that controls the mix rack, and the mix rack is the mixer.
And then you have it going wired up into Pro Tools, I see?
Yeah, we have channels going into Pro Tools with a PCIe RedNet Dante interface.
And that's how you record all the services.
Yes, so we're getting pretty much every channel on the stage. The main reason we use this is for music, so we're not really using anything but like the band and talking head mics, stuff like that. Program feeds, we record those. Yep.
And then you've got this monitor control here.
Yeah, so this just allows us to change the volume and choose if we're listening to the actual board or the Macintosh, the actual board or the Mac that is down here running Pro Tools.
Okay.
We have a different set of monitors behind these computer screens that we use, and these are just some crappy PreSonus monitors that we use to simulate bad speakers.
Okay.
And then we can also, this is a headphone amp as well. You can check mono compatibility, change your volume, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so this is the actual mixer. This is a DM0. It's a mix rack that doesn't have any analog I/O, but you'll see we have our GigaACE, Dante, and Waves option cards in here, as well as we're using another GigaACE port that's built in. We don't have any of these analog expansions because we're not using them. They're all being used for the front of house channels and then sent here. All of the 128 channels from front of house being sent here with the GigaACE card. And then we're sending and receiving some more stuff on Dante and then doing all of our channel inserts through Waves. Yeah, all our comms are the ClearComm Helix net in this campus. So that's pretty convenient to be able to just plug into the network and have an extra comm pack.
And there's nothing different about this dLive in usability. Like,
Correct.
The screens are all the same, correct?
So any dLive console can run any dLive show. So this, any of the dLive mix racks are compatible with each other, and any of the dLive surfaces are compatible with each other in the way that you can run the same show on any type of dLive mix rack or console. The only difference will be what is available, but you can still run all of the same stuff. So technically this is emulating every single possible dLive in and out, even though it doesn't have all of them.
Like, what's the mindset here versus front of house?
So the mindset here is just a completely different end user. At front of house, you're mixing for a very large line array and a lot of subwoofers in a physical room.
And you know what it sounds like right in front of you.
Yeah, and you get that feedback right away. Whereas this is mixing for any number of users.
iPhones, Androids, computers.
Exactly,
TVs.
Any number of different types of speakers, mono, stereo. So your approach is a lot different. And a lot of the time, this is a super reductive, but you're doing a lot more compression here because the quality of the speaker and the volume that the person is listening it at is a lot different. So you're going to have to make sure that everything is heard and balanced. And a lot of the time, you'll mix a lot brighter at broadcast because at loud volumes at front of house, we're definitely mixing a lot darker so that it just doesn't hurt people's ears.
And you mix in crowd mics here, right?
Correct. So we have all of our crowd mics mixed in to the mix here, and then we have that on a DCA. So these are actually going to our sent mix, whereas opposed to the front of house mix, we're not sending those to the PA at all, only to our program matrix. It's still all Waves plugins, but we're using a lot more of their analog modeling stuff. Like for a couple examples, here's an SSL EQ and an API compressor and stuff like that. We're using a lot more of that kind of stuff to get a more polished sound.
So as we wrap this up, I'm very interested to hear Bennett talk about how he got into this business and the advice that he has for people like you that want to do what he does. So what is the most important technical skill that you can have to be able to run equipment like this?
Aside from just having an ear for mixing, I would say the most important thing is knowing your signal chain and how to troubleshoot it. Because when audio isn't coming through or someone can't hear something, you have to know how everything is assembled and how it works in order to fix problems like that. A lot of the stuff an audio engineer will be doing is solving problems in the first place. And if you can only solve problems in the mix, then you're not really doing your full job. You should be able to troubleshoot things when they go wrong as well.
Okay, so technical stuff, I'm hearing you say signal chain.
Know
The path of your signal. This is true for all types of audio. This is true when I'm doing location audio too. Know how that signal is getting to and from all the places, okay? What's the most important non-technical skill you can have as an audio engineer?
I would say being able to interface with the people who you are mixing in an amicable way. So any number of people will be on stage and your job is to support them with audio. But if you aren't able to do that without getting stressed, or if you aren't able to solve problems without turning into a grumpy person, then no one's going to like you and no one's going to want to work with you no matter how good your mix is. So if you can't talk to people and help them without getting stressed and being nice and being fun to be around, then most people won't want to work with you.
You're going to get the stereotype of being a grumpy sound guy.
Yeah, no one likes that.
Nobody likes a grumpy sound guy, okay? I'm guilty of being a grumpy sound guy sometimes, okay? I'm guilty. But we have to always try to not be that person, okay? Because you need to be nice, and those soft skills are going to get you further sometimes than the technical skills.
Absolutely.
If people don't like you and you're not fun, they're not going to bring you back. It's part of the deal, okay?
I would say it's almost more important to some people that you are fun to be around because most people aren't going to know the difference between a good mix and a bad mix, unfortunately.
Especially in a church setting like this, for sure, being more likable and easy to work with is extremely important, okay? Extremely important in all areas, but in a church setting, especially important. So as we wrap this thing up, I just want to say thank you for watching. I know this is a little bit different kind of a video. I hope you enjoy this look. I'm going to do a little more of this kind of stuff where we look at complex systems and I talk to people about how they work. So stick with it if you're a freelancer. Hang in there. I know you got this, and we'll see you in the next one.